Okay, we're closing in on the end of the orders, so we got two left. So I flipped to the actual orders. I don't know if I'm wasting time flipping through, but here we go. So next we'll go over like good old orgotek, the electrokinesis. These guys, they're actually, as my nose is itching, these guys are based in North America, which in the 22nd century it's called the FSA, the Federated States of America. So it consists of the current day United States, Canada, and Mexico. And of course, you can check out the history where I can go through like how the United States invaded Canada and Mexico for resources and everything, and it became the actual Federated States of America. And here in Trinity, they're actually like a military state and everything. So but we could quite possibly go into further detail in future videos and everything. And that's for a whole nother story. So with the electrokinesis, this like good old just like the other videos, the good description about them. So electrokinesis. The scion channels electrical energy and even manipulates the electromagnetic spectrum of this aptitude, which is also referred to as EK. Electromanipulation, photokinesis, and technokinesis are the three recognized EK modes. So in electromanipulation, this mode involves controlling electrical impulses in organic beings. Photokinesis, this mode's effects are used to perceive and direct the flow of energy across the electromagnetic spectrum. A skilled gifted can create holograms spontaneously and can generate lasers by focusing his will. And technokinesis, the scion taps into and controls energy flow through mechanical technology from computers to spacecraft. And then the Eon Trinity mission parameters. The electromagnetic spectrum is your plaything. You manipulate the flow of electricity in the human body in BioWare and hardtech devices. You tune into broadcast transmissions and generate deadly lasers merely by concentrating. You are a technical expert. You penetrate even the most heavily guarded OpNet nodes to gather information. The OpNet is the Trinity's version of the internet. And so you take control of opponents' weapons to give your teammates the edge in a firefight. You repair and manipulate equipment of any kind, human or alien, hard or biotech. Hard tech is like stuff like the iPad that I'm on, your iPhone. Biotech is like in a sense biological technology and everything. So, and Cassell, he's actually in a sense the proxy or like the head of the orgotek, and he is pretty much considers himself like the president. So like each one has like a different title and everything. So this goes into like further detail. You can see like some of like the biotech companies and that are there. Orgotek can control one of them. So they also have like an interaction table. So go over this. Orgotek interaction with other orders. Orgotek and Isra are vocal in urging the cooperation of the orders. In recent years, it seems that Orgotek's aggressiveness has driven other orders from it, rather than bringing them to it. However, electrokinetics have been instrumental to advancement of biotech, primarily the new jump ships, which they use replace the disappeared teleporter order. So the other orders maintain polite political ties to ensure access to the craft. Ezra and the legions work regularly with orgotek in the field, despite any personal differences. Additionally, the ministry has engaged in noetic research with EK scientists, which has had some very productive results, but which also has led to clashes and competition. Otherwise, the orders seem content to leave orgotek to his own devices. So the electrokinesis are in a sense like your hackers, because they as you can tell they control electricity and everything. So we go to like the actual black and white section to actually get into their abilities and stuff. So as I'm flipping through the backgrounds and for the character creation, go to the famous power table that I keep referencing and everything. So with the electrokinesis, they have three modes, like the other ones that we said: manipulation, photokinesis, and technokinesis. They have the basic technique of static burst. So the abilities starting with electron manipulation are stun, disruption, static shield, control, feedback, photokinesis, control, illumination, spectrum sight, electromagnetic shield, laser generation, and hologram creation. Technokinesis, you have power surge, interface, lockout, transmit, microwave burst. So go over like their basic techniques. So page 208. All right, so basic technique is static burst. This basic capability enables the scion to generate a small, unfocused electrical charge. Burst can be used to shock a person or even scramble a computer's operating system momentarily. This emission is only a precursor to the sophisticated manipulation that a training electrokinetic learns, but it can be useful. Static burst saw perhaps the single most profitable application when a low-level orgotek employee used the technique to stick balloons to a wall, having successfully entertained Alex Cassell, who was the proxy or the head of the organization of this psi order, Alex Cassell's rambunctious nephew, for a full afternoon. The clever employee was promoted to upper management within the week. So, system, basically how this ability works. Whatever the specific purpose to which the static burst is directed, the effect requires contact with the target and the expenditure of a psi point. The effect has a subtle but visible effect. The charge simply delivers a nasty shock. For every 2 points in your character's permanent psi, rounded down, roll 1 die of bastion damage, which is how you track it in a sense, like hit points and stuff, like in D&D in this game. You got bastion and lethal. So bastion is kind of like punching people and stuff. Lethal is kind of like using weapons, lethal weapons and everything. If he has a 5 psi, you roll only 2 dice as an example of what you roll, and subtract for silk as normal. Even if the attack does no damage, the surprise is often enough to startle a target. The burst can also be channeled into an electronic device, from a computer to a transmitter to a maglock, to disrupt its systems temporarily. Roll psi with difficulty equal to the target's failsafe rating. So think of like failsafes like in computers, like you put in security codes and stuff. So more the it's like difficulty. So like the more fail safes, like the more difficult difficulty would be. So like if you have say 3 fail safes, it would be like a difficulty of 3. So you'd have to get like 3 successes to be able to succeed. If the roll is successful, the device is scrambled momentarily and is unable to function effectively for a number of turns equal to the extra successes rolled. This works only at a localized function. The burst is certainly not enough to disrupt an entire system. So think of like the static burst is something small, like the iPad and stuff I'm on, versus the whole like actual computer node. Like you go into like I'll reference a cyberpunk campaign that my group and I recently did, and we broke into like the main, in a sense, like a mainframe of like the company was called Cyberdynes, reference the Terminator. We broke into there and they had a whole big supercomputer mainframe, so static burst wouldn't necessarily work on something like that and everything. So, but when in regards to like characters, like a lot of times like orgotek characters are kind of like combat savvy, not necessarily I would say like on par but to legionnaires, but they kind of have like a competition on who could be like the better combat expert or whatever. So in the how you would fit this one into a group is kind of like and not only are they the hackers and stuff, so like be able to hack systems and stuff with their electrical abilities and stuff, but they could also act as a kind of like a backup combat expert to legionnaires. So like while your legionnaire may be like the frontline fighter, in D&D concepts, like the legionnaires, like I said, frontline fighter, the electrokinetic from orgotek might be like your backup fighter, or like a ranger, kind of like a ranged, using a bow. In this case, like their electrical abilities, not just the to hack into computer systems and stuff, but also back up the other players. So, like for instance, they could just using the stack burst, uh, the basic technique that I went over. They could use a stack burst to quickly stun like the opponent, and they could get caught off guard, which would give the Legionnaire enough time to get into position and take off take out their opponent and everything. So yeah, you got like I said, the Legionnaires, like your frontline fighters. You got your Israel that could warn of danger. Your telepaths that are able to read minds, and so Legionnaires, Israel, Ministry, and that's the doctors could be able to heal all the characters, and these guys act as like a backup fighter to like the Legionnaire, and also, like I said, where they really shine is in a sense hacking. So if like you need to break into like the uh, your target's like base or whatever, they'll be ones that will be able to hack the computer system to unlock the main gate and everything, and they can get in and stuff. So that's where the electrokinesis would fit in great in this group. So now finishing up this, we just got one more, the biokinesis, which we'll be doing next week and wrapping this up. And so after next week, I'm gonna probably be moving on, and like I have an idea of actually starting to do playthroughs. So we'll probably start doing that for midweeks after I wrap up like the deep dive of the Psy Wars next week. So keep an eye out for those playthroughs in the weeks to come.